Crew Pros, your single source for high quality, affordable home services. If you are remodeling, repairing, or replacing, Crew Pros are the professionals that can do the job no matter the size. If you are thinking of remodeling your kitchen or bath, needing a new HVAC system, plumbing repairs, flooring, or a complete roof replacement, call Crew Pros. Crew Pros, proud sponsor of the Grizz 901 podcast.
Memphis. Nothing but Memphis. Everywhere we go, it's Memphis. Memphis, Tennessee, the beautiful land in the world.
And I'm thankful for this guy who tweeted and said I don't have that fire in my eyes no more. That game right there was for him. That's what I do. I prove people wrong each and every night, and that's for him right there.
Hi, this is Tom Izzo at Michigan State, and you're listening to Grizz 901.
What up, Grizz Nation, and welcome back to another episode of Grizz 901, presented by Zach Jaworski State Farm, where they treat you like family. Today, we have our main guy, not the side chick. We got our main guy in here. Ryan, what's up, man?
Doing all right, man. Just trying to watch the Chiefs pull off this money line for me.
Yeah, well, weirdly enough, my boss has had me put some money down for him on the Bucks, and he's a huge Chiefs fan, which is weird to me. So now he's kicking himself because, yeah. Well, it was before the game, but anyway, we're here on a Sunday night recording this. We are going live on YouTube and wherever else. You can find us on Twitter and whatnot, but we had a very quick show. Last time it was supposed to be quick as well, and somehow it just kept going on and on and on. But this one is going to be quick, I promise you. Ryan and I actually have to do another recording of free basketball after this, so make sure you check out free basketball as well on the podcast network with the lead. Yes?
No, just saying, nice plug.
Oh, sorry. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. The Grizzlies just played the Milwaukee Bucks, 107-102 win. It was honestly a game I saw 0 minutes of it. I just kind of caught it a little bit from, I guess, Twitter for the most part. I saw some highlights. I saw some things. So I am not the guy who is going to be here talking about everything and how awesome it is. Ryan saw it. He watched it. And so we're going to ask him a lot about the preseason game and kind of what he saw, what he's taken away. So let's go ahead and get into that game first. David Roddy was the high scorer. Is that real, Ryan? Or is that just like, hey, yeah, he was the high scorer, but that's really not. He didn't have that big of an effect on the game.
He was? How many points did he have?
18.
Oh, okay. Because that's how little I pay attention to stats, like points scored in a preseason game, because it just doesn't matter. I'm more interested to see what certain roles guys are in, or what Taylor Jenkins and the crew or the coaching staff is trying to put guys in to see what they can do.
Right.
I don't really care too much about scoring stats. I get it. Some of it is interesting, like I like the true shooting and our, field goal percentage and stuff like that. I'm kind of mainly watching individual guys to see if there is an improvement that they've been kind of vaunted, like Santi. And then more interested by the rookies who are kind of like the crew, who led that comeback in the fourth quarter. Right. I'm certainly not a person who overreacts to anything regarding preseason. So I watched it, night of, and then kind of reading everybody's tweets and replies and hot takes, we'll say, from all sorts of corners from the Grizz Twitter sphere. I had to rewatch a couple quarters again today just to be like, did I miss something? And rewatching it, no, I didn't miss anything. We get caught up, and that's fine. And I like people to be excited about the Grizzlies, but some of it is just, it's already too much.
So, what exactly is the too much? Like, who was it on? Because from what I saw, there were certain people, mainly it was Junior, but um, who was it that you saw that people were all, going crazy about?
Well, everybody was excited about Junior, and I get it. But you have to look at who he was playing against a lot. I mean, come on. Um, like the main reaction I've seen from a lot of people, not just one, is like Junior's going to get real minutes, or we need to find real minutes for Junior this year. And that's insanity. The other one is like some people who I guess are more quote unquote credible within Grizzlies Twitter or have covered the team for a long time are like Santi kind of made a real impression to me about being, potentially the guy to start at the 4. He looks a lot better, looks whatever. And I just didn't see that at all. Not to say that Santi isn't better,
Yeah.
but I did not see anything that stuck out to be like, oh, yeah, he's the 4 while Jaren's out. We're good. I certainly didn't see that at all. Um, I mean, he just kind of floated around the perimeter, and I think he did hit the first 3 of the game when it started out like on an 8-0 run.
Right.
So he did kind of, was the first score for the Grizzlies for the quote unquote 2022-2023 season. But I certainly didn't see anything to be like, oh, yeah, he's really improved. He's solid. We can count on him to be able to fill in for Jaren at the 4 to start the NBA season. So that's kind of like little stuff. Or those were kind of the main things, right? Now, everybody has a reaction about every single player, and I certainly get that. It's just preseason. You have to consider what's going on. You have to consider who's playing. Like, we're going to react. We're down by 10 to 12 points or 8 to 12 points pretty much the entire game. And we basically came back within the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter. The Bucks weren't playing anybody, just like we weren't playing anybody. And if you weren't paying attention to it, the Bucks scored 3 points in the final 4.5 minutes of the game and made 1 basket and 1 free throw. Now, I will give credit where it's due because the rookies and the guys that are in there, this is why we drafted these guys for the defensive versatility, I think, and the offensive versatility. You saw that. That's real.
Yeah.
So I certainly think the most positive thing I came out of it is I did feel better about Kennedy Chandler, who was just a pest defensively. Now, what's the ceiling of that? I don't know. Like, he kind of reminds me of Javon Carter, just comparing apples to apples, playing against the Bucks. And like, he certainly, when he was not in the game, we didn't really have any kind of anybody that could kind of not necessarily create off the dribble, but somebody could actually get into the lane and create for other people. So I certainly think they still going to struggle around the basket, being his size, struggle finishing. And if he's going to struggle finishing, he's going to have to develop an outside shot. And he did hit a 3 pretty early, just stepped into it, looked pretty comfortable. But defensively, I mean, he looked like he could play right now. But the problem is he's just so small. We get into a real game, regular season, teams are just going to take advantage of him. It's going to draw help. Everyone's going to have to rotate, kicking out for wide open threes. The Bucks just were playing nobody that could really take advantage of that. So certainly I get the excitement from everybody, and I will give that last group their props because defensively they looked really good. I mean, they were doing everything, which is like the Grizzlies strategy, right? No drives to the middle, help off, hard rotate, close out to the corner, leave the open above the baked threes wide open. And that's kind of the Grizzlies defense. And you saw that last night. So, yeah, the Bucks, like, what can you have? 20 players on a preseason roster or something like that? Like, for the most part, they saw guys 10 through 17. And they scored 3 points in the final 5 minutes of a preseason game. So,
yeah,
sure, it's cool. And I'm glad that, they're not going to quit. They are competing. That's a good sign. They all think they can play probably rotation minutes for this team this year. And you saw that competition. So those are bright spots. I'm not trying to ding on that. But to have this overreaction, like, oh, we're gonna bring it to you every night, kind of thing, and we have to carve out minutes for Junior this year, and Santi looks ready to step into the 4 and it be okay. Like, I'll never be on board with stuff like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm not going crazy over it. It's fun to watch. I like to see what guys are doing defensively. And the guys we drafted, you see the versatility, offense and defense. You see why they took swings on those players. So it's nice to see. It'll be interesting to see the consistency going forward. Zaire was kind of an interesting case during the game. I mean, I like his little pet new mid-range pull-up game. I think that's going to be crucial for him this year. He's just got to get it consistent. I think his shot looks pretty good from 3, a little more consistent. We'll see, within the flow of a real NBA offense against a real NBA defense, but it certainly looked more consistent to me last night. Like, he felt more comfortable, but that kind of mid-range pull-up, no one can really guard it. And I think that's going to be, if he's going to take a big step this year, I think that's going to be a really good indicator for him. And I thought he competed well in defense, where I think he should be one of the starters. Just the way he was rotating help defense and was actually kind of swatting people and challenging people on the rim on rotation, kind of like what Jaren does. So it certainly was like, I didn't think of Santi could step in at the 4. I thought, okay, I could see Dylan playing at the 4 and Zaire starting, just because of the help rotation defense and his length.
Yeah, I like Zaire. I think he is the guy who should be probably the starter, and I think he will be. I don't see why they would put Aldama in there, but it wouldn't shock me if he takes that step. If Aldama takes a step this preseason, I think he has potential of actually doing that. But I think it's Zaire's to lose unless Aldama just really just presses enough where they feel comfortable putting Aldama in there so they can slide Zaire to, the second unit, which actually makes them a better team. If you put Zaire in the starting unit, that's fine. But you have Ja there. You have, your better players, Bane. And so sliding Zaire to the bench where he's probably going to be most of the year, I would imagine. That's probably what they would want to do, but they would have to make Aldama force their hand a little bit. But it was interesting that, they scored 41 points in the fourth quarter, which is, nice to see. Looking back at, this box score, it pretty much just goes to show that our team is much deeper than other teams. So when other people are playing their 10th to 17 guy, right? Our 10 to 17 is better than a lot of other people's 10 to 17. You can kind of see that a little bit when, like, these are actually real NBA players. Just like in Summer League, when you're having people that weren't 32, 34, really going for a NBA contract, they have nothing to lose in the Summer League, like when you run up against a team like that. So I think that this is a chance for us to really see how good and deep this team is. But I really see that you're going to see how good this Memphis Hustle team is going to be. Because you got to imagine, like, I'm sorry, but Junior, he's good. I think he'll have his shot within the year. Let's not go ahead and push him in there in the first few games of the year. Like, let us get his feet wet. A guy like Vince Williams, who is not going to be great on the NBA court right now, but you put him on the court in Memphis Hustle in the G League, that dude is going to be good. And then, Laravia, Roddy, at some point are going to be down there. Kenny Chandler's going to be down there all the time. That Memphis Hustle team is going to be very, very good. All right, here we go with this. Let's listen, or let's answer Chris. I'm going to show you what he's saying. Start Junior. Is he the guy that we're like, all right, Chris, we love you, first of all. Second of all, is he the reason that, now we're having so many issues with everybody saying start Junior? Like, is Chris wrong to want to start Junior?
He's not wrong for wanting to start him because it's fun.
Does it make the Grizzlies better?
No, certainly it doesn't. But it's fun. Like, it's just like if you just want a different look for a guy who's unafraid, who's an undrafted rookie,
Yeah.
it's interesting, right? Like,
Yeah.
would I be interested in an opening day game where it's Julius Randle versus Junior? Sure.
That would be
Like, why
awesome.
not? Like,
That-
come on. That's just funny, body to body. Like, they're the exact same player. But I mean, I just think it's realistic that he's going to be mostly a hustle guy.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think like this, can you buy season tickets for the hustle? I assume you can.
Yes. Yes, you can.
I've never been to one, but after watching the rookies, like how they just didn't stop, right? And like I might actually have to get hustle season tickets because they're an interesting hustle team. Now the consistency in the shooting, there's not a lot of shot creation outside
Yeah.
of Kennedy, who's really not going to create for himself, and Junior, who can't really separate from anybody one-on-one, but he's just so big and bulky. But the thing is, they're just not going to rebound. Like they're going to get killed in the G League on the boards. But I'm very interested to watch the 5 rookies develop. Because there is a couple of them are going to hit, and I don't know which ones exactly it is, because I don't want to say Junior's like a sideshow, like he's fun sideshow, and I don't want to say Kennedy couldn't develop an outside jumper and could, I don't want to say no one can do anything, because they all have the ability to do something that is additive for this team. But I just don't foresee Junior or any of them getting a lot of rotation minutes early, but that they might have to, depending on the timetable return with Triple J. And if someone like Conchar starts slow and he's killing us as a 7th or 8th man, and they've got to try somebody else. So I'm interested to see what the next step forward is, but I'm certainly not going to freak out over preseason games.
Yeah, I'm in the same way. I think it's fun. I love Junior. I wish he would play. If I was the coach, I would definitely hold him off for sure. I want to get his feet wet, get him used to the NBA, run up and down the court. That way, when you put him in the game, you put him in the right spot. Like you're putting him in at the best potential spot for him. So I think honestly, I'm ecstatic about just the excitement, but also just the potential that these guys bring. I think that's really what you have here is you have potential. And I think, Junior, even, Roddy, people are all, he was the leading scorer for the Grizzlies. And I don't think he was probably talked enough, but I haven't seen the game, so I'm not going to, talk about it too much, but let's talk about the other upcoming games. So when this coming out Monday, it should be coming out to everybody, wherever you listen to us, whether it's podcasts or if you're checking in on a Monday somehow on YouTube. The Grizzlies take on the Magic. They're going to be at home. And so they also then go they're back home again. Sorry, they're home again against the Heat on Friday the 7th. Is there anything that you're really looking for within these 2 preseason games this week?
I want to see more Conchar and Zaire stuff.
Okay.
I'd like to see Zaire continue to try to create. They tried to force Zaire to create stuff, being on ball, and it just went nowhere. And that's okay, right? Like that's the point, is to make him uncomfortable. I certainly don't expect for him to be featured as a primary ball handler during the regular season. I mean, they'll probably give him a couple possessions a game to try it, but I certainly don't see him as being a initiator creator this season. But I would like to see him continue to try. And I think the coaching staff is going to force him to with certain sets and lineups. And then Jitty was firing. Like he started firing from 3. Now he didn't connect on anything, and he only really scored on backdoor cuts and offensive rebounds, the John Conchar that we know and love. But the willingness, he just looked hurried to me, like a guy who is trying to, we said in media day, the guy mentioned he only averaged 1.8 3-point attempts a game.
Right.
Like he looked like a guy who was like, I've got to get up more threes. And he looked he looked a little hurried. They weren't forced shots, they were wide open, but he looked hurried. So I want him to keep doing that because he needs to be comfortable. So I'm looking for more consistency out of these preseason games. And if you wouldn't have to put at the bottom that we're playing the Magic and the Heat, I wouldn't have known who the next two opponents are because I just don't care. Like it doesn't matter. And I don't think Grizzlies fans, you should be watching preseason games to look for, look, David Rice scored 18 points again. He's going to be really solid. There's no correlation to preseason and regular season. None.
Yeah.
Okay. You need to be looking at little things like shot creation. What does he look like within the flow of these? Does he look comfortable? Defensively is the biggest thing, right? The thing with rookies and second-year guys is defensively. Zaire Williams was a net negative analytically for us last year. Like he scored out analytically as like an 8th to 10th man analytics-wise. So defensively is what I'm most interested to watch. And everyone was switching. No one was playing, really getting through screens or anything. And that's part of the Grizzlies system. So I want to see how guys function out of that defensively instead of just watching the ball all the time. Watch the guys on the back line when you're watching a game. Don't just watch the point of the attack. See how everybody else is in rotation. That gives you a much better feel for what might carry over to a regular season. And we certainly know that the higher attempts from threes, it usually carries over into a trend into the regular season. So if Jake LaRavia is going to end preseason with only attempting 3 threes per game, that's not a great indicator that he's going to be shooting a lot of threes in the regular season. It's just not. So if you're a guy that can shoot at a decent percentage, shooting 6 to 7 attempts in preseason, that is an indicator for rookies that you have the ability and you're going to have your chance and you're going to be able to hit those 3-pointers in the regular season. So that's the kind of stuff statistically, if you just like stats, that's really what you should be focused on. Not, Junior had 23 points tonight against Mo Bamba. Like, let's play him. That the points don't matter, is what I'm trying to say. You're looking for the additive stuffs for something that could carry over to real regular season basketball.
Do you think we see Ja during the preseason?
I would assume so. I would assume he'd play a quarter maybe in the last one. What is that, the Heat on the 7th?
Yeah, we have another game, but I think it's the last home preseason game.
Oh, okay.
Then we go down to Magic and then to the Pistons. So we have 5 total games, 5 preseason games.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I would assume it's one of the last ones where he plays like half a quarter or something to get, like, I'm sure he wants to play anyways, but I certainly wouldn't expect to see him in the next 2, but maybe little glimpses in the 4th and 5th one.
Yeah. Okay. I'm excited about seeing just the team kind of figure themselves out a little bit. And I want to see a little bit of highlight from these young guys and kind of see them kind of grow into their own. So nothing in particular. I still haven't seen it from Roddy. I didn't watch this game, as I said earlier. I haven't seen it. I want to see it. I want to see how he's going to translate against tougher opponents. We've seen him against college. We've now seen him in the summer league. Didn't see a lot. Didn't see anything so far in the preseason. I want to see it. And whatever these guys have, whether it's Jake, pulling up from 3 and knocking some down like he did in this last game, I want to see it. Whatever it is and whatever they have, what their best thing that's going to translate and keep them on the floor and carve out some important minutes, during the regular season. I want to see it. So that's what I'm looking for, these young guys to keep playing. I want them to play 25 minutes a night. Keep doing what they're doing. That way, we kind of see a little bit of rhythm from them get going. But just like you said, I don't know if we see Ja a lot. I think you're going to see him in 2 games, probably play 15 minutes. So you're talking about, the first, 7 to 8, come out, go back in, second quarter, 7 to 8. I don't think you're going to see him more than 15 or 20 minutes. I could be wrong, but that's what I would look for. All right. Before we get into our last topic, before we get out of here, we got about 5 or so minutes, and we're going to get out of here and wrap this thing up. But our presenting sponsor is Zach Jaworski, State Farm. They have been very good to us. So if you do not have insurance that you love, because these guys, as I said earlier, Ryan, Zach Jaworski doesn't
suck.
Exactly. Thank you. No, they're very good. So give them a call at 901-459-4227. You can even find them on the web at Zach, Z-A-C-H, insuresmemphis.com. If you're looking for automobile, house, car, boat, I don't know, necklaces. Actually, I have that, weirdly enough. My wife's ring, insured, because it better be. Everything, I think everything that really has insurance, I have everything through Zach. Good team, great people there. And it very much is true. They treat you like family. But go check out Zach Jaworski, State Farm, 901-459-4227. It's Zach, insuresmemphis.com. All right, our last thing. We had to go here. I didn't even tell you we're going to talk about this, but Steven Adams, 2 years. $25.2 million total, so that's roughly 12-ish. How do you feel about that?
I'm fine with it.
Okay.
I mean, it's not like it's a solid thing, and I think I think at first with Triple J, it was like, oh, he's got to play the 5, and over the past couple of years, I've just flipped from that. I don't think he can play the 5. So I think Steven Adams just solves a lot of problems right now. So I don't know if there's still a potential transition plan in a couple of years to where they try Triple J at the 5, or they just go out and find someone that's like Steven Adams in the free agency market when his contract is up. Yeah. So I'm fine with it. I think Steven Adams has been awesome for this team. I mean, we don't really rebound if he's not there.
Right.
So there's a reason why we were killing everybody in the league at like a record pace and second chance points. And that's just because the guy just works and will set screens, get guys open, find cutters and divers on the elbow. So I think he's fine for that price. It doesn't hurt my feelings. Don't think it's expensive. Don't think it's cheap. Think it's just right. Think it's a fair deal. I think it works out for both Steven and for the Grizzlies.
Yeah, I was saying pretty much in the offseason that I would look for them to extend and give Steven Adams a contract. And I even said, what is it, 2 years, $12 million each year? I think that's realistic. And, a lot of people said that there's no way you can get him for 12. Because it's kind of pretty much what he makes, or I think it might be less than what he makes. I'm not looking at it right now, but even if it was $15 million, even if this was 2 years, 30, with the cap going up, I still think this would be a good deal. But the fact that you have him in his prime, he's 29, so you're going to get him for whatever he's paying this year, 12 million or so. This year, 29, 12 million at 30, and then 12 million at 31. What this actually does is this keeps your window open just a little bit longer, because now you have your young crew, of your young guys. They're all pretty much figured out. The only people that you don't that play important minutes, you don't have Brandon Clark after this season. You don't have Dylan Brooks after this season, right? And then you're going to eventually give a contract to Desmond Bane. Outside of that, everybody else is pretty much under contract. And so this is your team. I think this is a great spot. I think this keeps their window open a little bit longer. I think it allows them to be the Grizzlies and kind of just hold steadfast to this unit that they have. This also allows them to go the direction of if they need to slide Jaron down to the 5 because Junior, Roddy, let's say Zaire and somebody comes in and plays the 4 and all that figures itself out, you can slide Steven Adams to the bench for $12 million a year. And I think he'd be okay with that. Now you have a guy who's really good as a backup big. This also answers the question. This team is not long with Xavier Tillman. If Xavier Tillman wants to hang out, he can, but it won't be for a decent contract. It's going to be a very, very small contract, probably what he's already making. If he wants to bounce around the league, he can. If he wants to be at the backup big here, he can. But I think that's pretty much says, like, there's no way that Xavier Tillman's going to be the guy that moves into the starting lineup and kind of becomes that guy. That'll never happen, especially not now.
Yeah. Real quick, also with Steven, also an interesting pairing with Dylan Brooks' salary for a trade potential.
Okay.
So you get to what, like 26, 27 million?
Yeah.
A lot of interesting players in that range.
Yeah. Well, I think, Dylan is what, 10 or so?
Is he not 14? I'm sorry. I thought he was like 14. I could be wrong on that, but
I don't think so.
That's probably for another time. But it does seem like an obvious, like to me, it kind of felt like, oh, that's a good deal. That's fine. But it did also kind of like hit me with that's a potential pairing with Dylan if you're going for a disgruntled guy thing. If you wanted to. So not saying that a lot of teams will have an appetite to get rid of a disgruntled young player for Dylan Brooks and Steven Adams, but the length of the extension, it's fine. And Dylan's what, on his last year?
Yeah, Dylan's expiring. So he's 11-4 right now.
So you might get a team that's interested by that, potentially. You never know.
Yeah.
Who may not want to pay a guy or someone that may be trying to tank or possibly. You just don't know.
And Adams has been great for the Grizzlies. He's getting paid roughly $18 million this year, this upcoming season, and then it goes down to 12 and then 13.
Yeah, so
that's great.
Yeah, I love the guy. Wouldn't want to see him go, but would not shock me if that was kind of like the two pairing with a pick. Kind of you start hearing rumored around the league for guys, that may be on the quote unquote trade block. Well, the Grizzlies offered Dylan Brooks and Steven Adams in a 2023 first, like something like that. Wouldn't surprise me. Not saying it'll happen, just saying it wouldn't shock me if that was kind of like the starting baseline for a deal.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they're 28 combined between them. Maybe 29 actually. So that's what you're looking at between those two guys this season. Obviously it lessens next year, and then Dylan's not under contract with the Grizzlies next year either. So it is very important. Something big to look at. I don't know if what the time is like. For some reason, once you sign an extension, when can you be actually traded? I would imagine it's something similar to others. We have to wait till like they think there's a time in December that you can actually get traded by then. So who knows? We'll see. All right. That's all we have. Like I said, we got to go record another show. But we want to hop on here and do a little bit of the Grizzlies preseason, as well as talk about the Steven Adams stuff. But as always, make sure you subscribe, rate, review. We're on everywhere podcast. You can definitely find us. Also YouTube. We're going to keep gearing up and getting ready for the season that's upcoming. We are 17 days away. Man, so close. Just took a tour of the FedEx Forum. The new Big River Steel Edge. Awesome. If you haven't seen it, go check out our Grizz lead at Grizz_lead. Go check that out. It was cool. Right when where Zebo's banner is, they took out the entire bleachers, like the seating, and just has it wide open. You can go in there and get food. The food was amazing. I had asparagus, corn. I had wings. I had
First thing you're gonna list.
I'm going down
Asparagus.
everything I got. Like it was in order, obviously. I had some barbecue. I had it was some seafood, something I don't remember what it was. Dude, it was so good. And then you wrap it all up with some cheesecake in the end. They also have Casamigos is a sponsor now. So I had Casamigos and something lemony. I don't know what it was. It was so good. It was a blue drink. They pour in a blue something to make it blue, like it's not actually the flavoring, and it looks so cool. They dip the lemon in some blue stuff, and then spike it like a spear, and then put it in your drink, and that's what stirs the alcohol in, whatever. And that's what turned it blue, which was cool. But you got a little commemorative cup, has the Grizzlies on one side, Casamigos on the other. So that was cool. They're doing so much. Like we walked everywhere. On one part of the forum, if you want to go for local food, you go to that one part of the forum. So you don't go like, oh, Rendezvous down in 110, but you go to 120, then you can get another local place. Literally, if you want local food, you go to like section 109 to like 114. Like that's where all the local stuff is. That way it helps people that want to go local. You just go that area and then you find whatever local food you want. Great idea. So there's a lot of beer places, different things around that area, and a lot of cocktail. You can actually have like kind of a refill cocktail thing. You go up there and you pay for it, and they pretty much like give you your cup and dispense it in, all mixed in together right away. Dude, quick. So it was awesome, man. I was thrilled because I think they're going a little bit more automated where you can, get free refills, as long as you have that cup, whatever, you can go get free refills. So there's a lot of cool things. So I'm excited about it. It's going to be a lot of fun. And officially, we do have this now. I don't know if everybody can see it. Little media action. Yeah. All right. We're moving up.
Grizz 901. Come for the asparagus.
and your carrots. Don't forget the carrots. That's my favorite ones, actually. Grilled carrots. All right, that's all we got. Let me get out of here. We got to go record more podcasts. But just remember, be nice and tell your friends.